welcome to the Spotlight series. On today's episode, we have the Samantha Riley. Hello, Sam.
Hey, Renee. How you going?
I'm great. So great to have you.
And thanks for having
Samantha
me.
Riley is the founder of the Accelerant Group, the creator of the Brand Builder Formula, as well as the host of the Unlimited Influence podcast. And through her program, she helps business owners to increase their influence, income, and impact. Awesome work.
Yay!
Love it, love it. So let's just dive straight in because you and I both just like
we're deep divers. Let's just go there. Yeah.
Like forget the fluff. Like let's just bypass the fluff. Personal branding.
Yes.
How important is it for a coach and a thought leader?
A coach and a thought leader, it is absolutely 100% like essential. So that was like Gary V. Essential, absolutely. Because people want to know that they know, like, and trust you. And I know that gets bandied around a lot these days, but it's true. You know, we don't buy from people that have never come onto our radar before. You're not about to go, oh, wow, that little one Facebook ad, that looks really great. I'm going to throw $10,000 at that person. Like, it just isn't going to happen.
No, absolutely not. All right. So a lot of coaches and thought leaders come from that ex-corporate background, you know, and they're used to that kind of hiding behind a big brand, if you like, and almost there's that underlying belief then that bigger is better. And so we want to build these big fancy brands and make ourselves look bigger than we are.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting take on it because you're dead right. That is what most people think. And I've been caught up in that as well because you just think that big is better, and I want to put my thing out on the door, my name out on the door, saying I'm this big company. But I read a case study on it was a photography business, and I can't remember the name of the business. But basically, their point of difference on the website was there's only 4 of us here. So every time you send an email, you will get a personal response from one of us. You'll be chatting to us, not someone in the customer service team, and we will get to know you. And that's when I thought, wow, like, what a difference. Because we all, we've heard about know me, like me, trust me, and that gets spoken about a ton. But when you boil it down to that, all of a sudden you go, okay, well, that makes sense, right? So if we could stop hiding behind that brand and actually reach out and get to know people, that's when our business will actually take off, is actually when we go more into that personal space and get to know people rather than being that, what we consider being that professional brand on the door.
Yes, yeah. And that was a huge shift for me as well, coming from the ex-corporate. I remember I actually, probably about 10 years ago now, started a business called Coach Network. And my thinking at the time was, well, I just don't want to be a single coach out there providing coaching services because that looks little and it's not there's no credibility and small. And so I'll build this great big network of coaches and then we'll be the trusted brand and everyone will just come to us.
Yes. And
it was such crazy backwards thinking, and needless to say, that business never took off. So,
yeah, but it's not great. Like, give yourself credit. It isn't crazy backwards thinking because that's what you knew, right?
Yeah.
And it took that to realize that it is different in the space that we're playing in. That as a coach, we connect with our clients. They come to us because there's a personal connection. Yes. That you and I are doing something that is a little similar. But we do it in our own unique way, with our own flavor, with our own methodology, with our own experiences, everything else, and people connect to us in different ways.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, you can't go to a network and go, I want my problem solved, because you're going to someone that you trust, that thinking about the stories that they tell. That's what you connect with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I just wish that someone had have kind of given me the shake 10 years ago and it just made me realize, I could have just saved myself so much pain. Like,
I don't know.
Fast track yourselves if you're
go anyway.
Hey, no, I probably wouldn't have listened. No. You can't tell me what to do. I'm different and I'm special and I'm going to do it my way. Don't even bother.
And you and I are like that, right? Like, no, we're not listening to you. Part of the journey.
Might work for everybody else, but I'm different. Yeah. And no.
Yeah. Crack up.
So funny. So what does it take to build a personal brand?
Oh my goodness, how long's a piece of string? I don't think I know that the base or the foundation of building a personal brand, I think, is the bit that most people leave out. So I know that you said right at the beginning, I've got a 5-step brand builder formula, and there's so many different working parts, and most people, we've all seen the ads that do this 5-step Facebook ad formula and it'll turn your business around tomorrow, or do this one thing in your business and it'll turn around tomorrow. But unless we go right back to the beginning and go, who am I authentically? Like that's the bottom. Like, what's my values? What's my legacy? What's my purpose? What am I here for? What do I stand for? What are all the experiences that I've had in my life? Until you go back and get that, that to me is the foundation of the personal brand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so that's step one. So what do you call it? Like, that sounds to me like know thyself, but what?
Yeah, create your authentic message. That's the first step. Yeah. Yeah.
So can you take us through the 5 steps?
Of course. So once you've created your authentic message, you need to get it out there, because knowing it is nothing unless anyone else knows it. So the second one is connecting with your target market. And this is what I was talking about before with your marketing. It's about connecting. It's about opening the conversations. So, how can you connect with them? Well, ask yourself, where is your avatar or your ideal client, or whatever way that you want to say it, where are they hanging out? So, places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, on your website, through your email marketing, all of these places. So, you need to reach out and connect with these people. And I actually have this organic part of social media as a separate step to the paid advertising. So the second step to me is just about connecting with them and opening up the conversation.
Yeah.
Then the third step is collaborating in the right circles. And that's about being in the right rooms. It's about joint ventures. It's about, who's your inner circle and your network. So it's not just making sure that you're in the right rooms to learn and making sure that you're learning the right things and, putting yourself in rooms of people that are smarter than you, but also about making sure that your inner circle are around you to open up your joint venture doors, I guess, as you could say.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Fourth step is about constructing your online product. So this is about starting to leverage your message globally, because we're born in this time, this is my personal belief, that we've been selected to be born in this time because we've got a message to share with the world to create an impact. Like, our generation is going to completely change the world and shape the world in a really different way. So, we've got smartphones in our hand. We can do Facebook Live that streams around the world. We can do all these crazy things. So all of the information that's in our heads, we need to get that out as much as we can, because what we've got in our heads is very unique. And that, Renee, that's what you share with your business, right? Sharing your passion. It's about sharing it with as many people as possible. So create that online product, not only as a funnel into what it is that you do, but to get the message out to more people.
Great.
And then the fifth step is about communicating in a leveraged way. And this is where your paid advertising comes in. This is about your webinars, about speaking on stage, writing a book, podcasting, all of these things where you can put yourself in front of as many people as possible.
I love that. You mentioned the L word. You mentioned my favorite L word, leverage.
Leverage. Don't we love leverage? There's only one of us, right? And we've got these personalities that are really huge, but they still only get a certain amount of the way out there. So we've got to leverage everything.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about how you've created leverage in your own business.
Yes. So there's different parts of leverage, right? As you would know, you're the leverage queen. So let's talk backstage, front stage. So backstage, I've leveraged my business with virtual assistants. I rely heavily on my team because I could sit on my computer all day creating a landing page. Exactly. Or I could send it to someone else to do. Thank you. Exactly. It does my head in. Seriously.
I hear you.
And I can do it, and I do it sometimes.
Yeah. I was a web developer in a previous life, and I would still need a therapist at the end of that crap.
Yeah, I mean, there are parts of it I like. I actually like to fiddle with my own website because sometimes, moving it around gives me different ideas. But then to finish it off, I'll still send it off to the team. Yeah. So, if I've got graphics, I don't know how to use Photoshop, nor do I want to learn how to use Photoshop. Like, hire someone that does that and does it in seconds.
Yeah.
So backstage leverage. Definitely rely on my team in the Philippines.
Great. And what sort of tasks do you outsource? So you mentioned graphics.
Yeah, so all of my graphics I get them to do. My website, so getting up my landing pages, integrating it with my GoToWebinar if I'm running a webinar, linking it with, my landing pages. I use lead pages. Anything to do with my CRM, with any integrations whatsoever, my Stripe, whatever it is, forms.
Yes. All those tasks that a lot of us have spent, hours and hours beating our heads.
We're coaches, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, is trying to set up GoToWebinar the best use of our time? Or as coaches, we're people. Is that right?
I think so.
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
We're all like that. So the best use of our time is getting out there, talking to people, chatting to people, coaching, opening up conversations. It's not sitting behind your laptop and stuffing around with all of those things that someone else can do in a tenth of the time that we can.
Yes, that's right. And it's a false economy to think, oh, well, I don't want to pay someone to do that because I don't have enough money. It's like, what, for the $20 you're going to save, it's going to take you 3 weeks to work it out yourself. Like,
I hear it all day, every day with so many of my clients. Oh, but I don't have the money to do that. I can't do that. If you could jump on the phone and in 30 minutes do even a $500 sale while someone else is doing your $20 task, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So instead of thinking, I can't afford it now, so I'll do this so I can make some money, what about turning that on its head and going, how about I outsource that? And while they're doing that, I'll think about a way to make the money so that I've got the money to pay them. Like, flip that thinking 180 degrees.
I love that.
On the phone, do what you have to do.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
And, I'm saying that because I've done it both ways.
Haven't we all? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't. Like, I definitely have.
Yes.
And when I very first started my first online business, I used to input all of the email addresses that I got over Facebook by personal message one by one and put them all into my CRM. Okay, cool. Like, probably not the best use of my time. However, at the same time, I got 700 emails in a couple of weeks, and it meant that then I did at least have something to sell, a list to sell to. So I think, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but don't sit there for too long.
No, that's right. It's easy to get stuck in that zone of I have to do everything myself because I don't have money to pay someone else. Yeah,
such a scarcity mindset. Turn it on its head as fast as you can. And the question I always ask myself is, if I don't have the money for that, what do I need to do to get it?
Yes.
What do I need to create today? What can I sell today? Whatever. Who do I need to talk to today? So that's actually another one of my tips for leverage. And this is huge. In my Wealth Dynamics profile, I'm a supporter. So this is super easy for me, but it's create joint venture partners and create a team of joint venture partners to work together, so that at any time it's like, okay, who's running the webinar to whose list, or, who can help me fill an event. Just in December last year, I ran my first workshop in Santa Monica.
Yes.
And because of a crazy situation that happened, I only had a 3-week lead in because we had to change our dates. So everyone that was enrolled for November, not one of them could come when we changed our date to December. And I had 3 weeks in a country I have never been to before. And we had 85 registrations and I had a 0 ad spend. And I did the whole lot through joint ventures. And I rallied together. And, it's just not about me going, guys, can you do this for me? It's about what win-win can we create together. Yeah. And they were an amazing group of people that helped me because I'd never met any of them before. So we had a great dinner party when I shouted them dinner when we finally got over there. But create your partner networks, not just one or two, but a whole network of people.
Yes, I love that. And it's a phenomenal outcome to go from, you know, a country that you have never been to go from zero, like to get 85 bums on seats in 3 weeks.
We didn't get 85 in the room. That was registrations, but yes. What a ride, what a journey, and just proved what can be done if you don't give up. Just, you know, right from the beginning, I said, I'm not taking my foot off the pedal until we get off the plane and we're over there. And I didn't. And it was just an amazing experience to achieve that in such a short time. And even 12 months ago, if you had told me I was going to do that, I'd say you're crazy. But it's amazing what we do when we get a little bee in our bonnet.
Yes, I think you and I are quite similar like that.
I think so. Unique.
Especially if someone says you can't do it.
Yeah, don't even try and go there. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Awesome. So where do you see coaches and thought leaders going wrong in terms of their personal branding?
Oh, wow. I think probably first up what's coming to mind is trying to copy the people that you look up to. Sometimes we do it on purpose and sometimes we don't. Sometimes it just happens. You know, you can look up to someone so much that you start to copy them. And you know, when you look at someone or you hear someone and you're like, I don't trust them, but I can't put my finger on why. And it's generally because they're trying to be someone else. I saw someone do a podcast and I just looked at it and cringed because he tried to pull it off exactly like the Gary Vee show. He had the desk set up with exactly the same things on the desk. He introduced it with the inflections in the same way with his name. He used the same script as Gary Vee does to introduce the show. And it was just so cringeworthy that, like, I don't think I even made it in a minute and a half. And I just went, oh, dude, this is just so wrong. So wrong.
How uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I've seen people do it, other coaches do it, where even they're doing, one of them, he does something with his hands, and I'm like, you've been watching, you know, so-and-so too much. Because straight away I could pick who had been watching, if that makes sense. And so that authenticity isn't there. That level of trust is just gone. There is no trust. Your
own natural gestures are perfectly fine. And like thought leader coach photo with the hands, you know, the hands with the together.
Yes, this thing, you know, if this builds trust.
That way, doesn't it? Like, nobody does that normally. You look.
I know, right?
If I see a photo like that, that's an immediate, like, get out of my life.
I'm with you. I don't like that hand thing either. And, you know, I went and so speaking didn't come naturally to me. I actually got into coaching because I went and did a 4-day how to run a workshop and speak workshop just for something else that I was doing.
Right.
And ended up in this coaching world by a complete accident. And did
a great accident.
The best thing that ever happened to me. But I did this training where I had to stand with my hands glued to my sides for 3.5 days. No, I've got this inner Italian in me that's just like, la, 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 la. And I spent 18 months on stage trying to get my message across and tripping over my words and looking nervous and feeling weird because I'm like, I can't move my hands. And I just, as soon as I let that go, I went, oh, I'm Sam. If you can't cope with my hands, don't come into my room, you know, and I'm okay with that. If I don't look as professional as the other people that go stand here, then do this thing, then, you know, do that thing, then it's not me. It's not authentic to me. I'm not an in-the-box thinker. I'm not an in-the-box anything. So I think that the biggest thing is to create trust or to build trust in your tribe and to have the right people that are attracted to you, because not everyone's going to be attracted to you. Just embrace being yourself with all of the idiosyncrasies, with all of the quirks, with all of the things. You know, if people don't like you, they won't come, and that's okay. Like, isn't that a good thing anyway? Because it means that they were never meant to be part of your tribe anyway. No,
and exactly. And if you attract someone by faking who you are, by being someone else, and then they sign on as a client, you're going to continue that act?
Yeah.
How much energy does it take to continue to fake that
well, you're always thinking, like, what if they find me out? You end up with this, like, massive imposter syndrome, and then you're not even doing your best work because you're constantly feeling like you're going to get found out.
Yeah.
It's just...
Be yourself, people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really not that hard.
Not just be yourself, but embrace being yourself.
Yes.
Because I think we don't like to be vulnerable. We don't like to put a thing out there where someone, and it's going to happen. I get it. I have people, mowing me down on social media because I've done something and it hurts. But you just got to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm a kind of what you see is what you get kind of girl. So I'm fully subscribed to the...
Absolutely.
Take it or leave it. Peeps.
Yeah. Exactly.
I actually say when I'm having an initial consultation with a client or potential client, and we'll be talking, and I always make sure I throw in, if you like me to sort of address an email with, hi, how are you? How are the children? How was your weekend? If you need that to feel loved, I'm not for you, because I'm more likely to go, did you do this? Send.
Yes.
And if you're going to get offended by my very straight to the point, like action-oriented behavior, it's not going to work, because I don't want to sit there and craft the perfect email. It'll take me 3 hours to do that because it's not who I am.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. And I had a call with someone yesterday, and I love doing Facebook Lives, right? And he said, Sam is like, your best Facebook Live was the one where you started it by accident. So what had happened was I had my phone and I did my little status thing, and then I put it on the phone mount, and I was doing something else and making some notes about what I was going to talk about, right? And it fell over, and I picked it up and I saw like the countdown, and it's like, you're live, and I'm like, oh, I'm live. Facebook Live. But like 10 seconds into it, like I'd put it back on the thing and started off live, it fell over again. I was just cacking myself laughing. I was absolutely wetting myself laughing. It was so funny. But it's like you were just so authentic, and you just kind of went with it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so embarrassed because my phone fell over and it wasn't so perfect. I was just cacking myself. So like, don't think that the world needs you to be perfect either.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because none of us are perfect. And if you're coming across as perfect, that's inauthentic, isn't it? So...
Oh, unless you're a C-type personality. If you were a C-type personality, probably would have had a heart attack then. But, enough of my eye came in that I picked up my phone and just went with it.
Love that. Beautiful. So we've talked about how you created leverage in your business.
Yes. What
I would love to know is, how do you maintain the love for your business?
Oh, my goodness. So it's just so easy. Love is my word, right?
Yeah.
My branding archetype is the romantic. So it's just so easy for me. However, if love doesn't come quite so easily, I would say you need to be really, really clear on your legacy and your purpose. Mm. When I was just focused on what my purpose was, or when people were saying to me, Sam, what's your purpose? I went through this stage where I was beating myself up because I couldn't figure it out. Like, people would say, oh, what is it that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. And I'd get really upset and really anxious and really frustrated.
Okay. I screamed. Sorry, that was my projection.
So nuts. Yeah, right. So, and I actually was beating myself up around this because people go, well, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? And I feel like you may as well just say to someone, ask them a question in Japanese. If you don't know how to find it, and, if this is resonating with you right now, because I know it's not just me, sit down and figure out what's your legacy. So if you were at your own funeral and you were a fly on the wall, what would the people be saying that you achieved? What would they be saying about you? What were the things that you did in your life that just changed the world? And think about that as not just on a global scale, but your personal world. Like, how are you with your family, with your children, with your partner, with your animals, with your whatever it is, like what's important to you, and then and then going, okay, well, so if that's my legacy and that's how I want to be remembered, what is it? What's the vehicle look like? So that's the purpose. What is it that I'm doing to create that legacy? And when you know what you're working towards and at that sort of end goal, it's a lot easier, because it's not just about the crappy task that you're doing today that you don't like. Even if it is just sending it off to the VAs, you still might not like sending the task off. You know what you're going towards.
Yes. Yeah. I think you
crack me up.
I think that's so important. Like, you know, and I'm sure many coaches have done this exercise before, is, you know, writing your own eulogy, you know, how do you want to be remembered? And, you know, I was at a big brand workshop over the weekend, and I won't mention any names, but basically, you know, it was kind of like, it had the entrepreneur journey, and the aspiration is like, you know, multi-billion-dollar business, right?
Yes. And
I was like, no, I don't actually, that's not the aspirational model for me. I'm actually really comfortable in a lifestyle size business where I have more than enough money to sustain the lifestyle that we love and we enjoy. And it's pretty simple. We don't need crazy amounts of money.
This is one of my actual legacy items, is having people understand that they can create a life that is perfect for them. If you want to be up on the hill with a big white mansion and 2 sports cars, that's okay if that's what you want. If you want to be living on a farm and living sustainably, and that's how you get your income, then do that. So for me, you know, my kids have grown up, my partner's kids have grown up. What we want to do now is travel the world. So it doesn't mean that it can happen tomorrow, because we want to be on the road for a couple of years. But we know that that's what we want to do. So it's just about thinking, what's the next step we need to do to create that? Cool. What's the next step? What's the next step? Because we know where we're heading. So once you break that down, it's a lot easier to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just be real about what your dreams and aspirations are, and don't just buy into someone else's,
because then you won't be happy.
No.
And really, at the end of the day, don't we just want to be happy?
Yes, absolutely. And I learned that the hard way back in my 20s, when I was in the corporate world. You know, it was like the job, the car, the salary, the this, the that, you know, like tick, 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 depressed.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't want that whole lesson to come crashing down on me again. I got that the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so did I, right? I managed to get off that merry-go-round that felt like it was spinning at 1,000 kilometers an hour. I'm not going back on it.
No. So, you know, if you've left the corporate world, or, you know, if you've left a job or something else to do something with more meaning, then, you know, don't go putting yourself back in a rat race in your own business to achieve a goal that's not even yours.
And it can be very easy too, because other people can get you back there. When I sold my dance studio, there was a couple, I had that for 18 years and I love dancing, but I left it. 18 years was enough. Like I felt drained and I didn't want to go back there. And about 5 years later, everyone was saying, you did such a great job, just open another dance studio. But because I knew where I was heading, it was very easy to not get caught up in that story that other people were telling me.
Yes.
To go, no, it's not what I want. Yeah, I'm doing it a little bit tough right now, and it would be easy money-wise to go back there, but that's not what I want.
Yes. It's so interesting. As you were telling that story, I was having flashbacks to family members at various points along my journey saying, why don't you just get a job?
Yeah. No. And we've all heard it. So yeah,
when are you going to get your job?
Yeah, where they suck the life out of you. Oh, we should change the topic.
Yeah. Well, as always, Sam, it is so much fun to speak with you, and you've given us such beautiful value today. So thank you so much for coming along. Do you have any final words for our coaches and thought leaders who are listening today?
Oh, wow. A final word. I hate it when you guys throw this on me. It actually is to really be clear on the life that you want to create and put the parts of the journey in place so that you can get there, because you can do anything that you want.
Love it. Thank you. We've been talking to Sam Riley, the Sam Riley.
Thanks so much, Renee.